ग्लोबल स्किल डेवलपमेंट मिशन में आपका स्वागत है।
Well, I've left us in a bit of a mess here, so let's try and clean ourselves up here. First of all, let's get rid of clouds.jpg. If we really wanted to, we could go and move more objects into this composition, and perhaps, we would in the real world, some additional objects, maybe some text, things like that, okay? But in any regard, you can certainly start to stack up your layers. Now, as you can see inside the layers panel, layers that appear towards the top of the layers panel appear on the top of the image, if that makes sense. Think of a stack of papers or a stack of objects. Layers that appear towards the bottom of the layers panel appear towards the bottom of the composition or the layout inside of our image. That's just how it works, okay? However, what if I want to change the order? What if I want to take the clouds and move them behind the statue or beneath the statue? It's actually very simple and straightforward. I'm going to grab the layer itself and click and drag and drop it beneath the statue. That's it. It's really, really easy stuff. So that's really all there is to it. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here so we can have a closer look at this composition here. That's it. Just dragging your layers above and below one another. That's it. Up, down. That's it. That's all there is to it. Okay? Something like that. Okay? So that's out of the way. Let's call it a day. Well, wait a minute. What about resizing our layer content? For example, I mentioned this towards the end of the previous exercise. The clouds layer is smaller than the statue image itself. If I zoom out here a little bit, of course, you can see that there's empty space above and below the clouds. So what can I do here? I think I've mentioned this once or twice already, but really the horsepower, the real power behind Photoshop is when we start combining multiple tools together. For instance, the quick selection tool and layers. Or how about our layers with free transform, which we've seen already. So make sure your layer 1 or your clouds layer is selected inside the layers panel, and then hit up your free transform from your keyboard. Don't tell me you forgot the keyboard shortcut. It's Control-Command-T on your keyboard. Go ahead and hit Control-Command-T on your keyboard. Your clouds will now be enclosed within the free transform frame, and everything is as it was before. You can rotate your layer contents. You can size and scale your layer contents. I'm holding down Shift here while I'm dragging on the corners, something like that. Okay, I can move this guy around. This is all on the layer 1 layer inside the layers panel. And what's really cool here is once I hit enter on my keyboard to lock in my changes, at any point in time as I'm working on my image, I can come back to layer 1 and go, I'm just not feeling that background. Control-Command-T on my keyboard. Continue manipulating the background, the sky, or whatever it is that happens to be inside there. I could rotate them around if I wanted to, maybe something like this, and kind of position them up. Whatever it is that I like. This is the really great thing about layers is we can constantly edit our images. Now I have to stress here that if we want to save our work at this point, we'd have to save our work into a layer-friendly file format, most likely the native Photoshop format .psd. Okay, if I save this guy out as a JPEG, what's going to happen? Everything's going to wind up getting flattened for me inside the layers panel. Okay, so bear that in mind. All right, before we move on, there's one more thing that I want to show you. How do we rename our layers? And I would really like to stress that you name your layers appropriately. I used to never name my layers, and I'd have layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 18, layer 19, layer 32, layer 33, and I'd say, where the heck are the clouds? Where are the clouds? They're in here somewhere. Oh, and eventually I'd find them. Oh, they're on layer 27. I should probably rename that to clouds to make it easier to find. So name your layers appropriately. It'll save you loads of time. How do you rename your layers? Double click right on top of the text there where it reads layer 1. Just double click in there. That's it. And then give it some kind of a name, whatever you want. Doesn't really matter. Okay, something like that. That's all there is to it. Rearranging your layers, resizing your layer contents, and of course, renaming your layers.